One of the greatest challenges that you will find with spiritual awakening, whether it's your first or it's your second, is fear. And fear will never leave you. You will master over it and control it, but it will never leave you. Fear is that in the New Testament that Satan tempted him for a little while and then he left him alone for a season. I'll put the verse up here. That fear will never, ever leave you. And as I said, you will grow in strength spiritually and you will be able to master over it. But from time to time, it will be cast upon you. It will come to you. Fear and anxiety is the body itself being directed by the egoic mind, that Satan aspect of ourselves that doesn't want change, that senses a change is coming on. And especially concerning your spiritual awakening, it does not want you to recognize that you have been selected. You are chosen. Now, when I say the word chosen, I am not excluding anyone. I am including everyone in this. However, at your time may be different than someone else's time. Your time may be now, someone else's time may be 10 years from now, or maybe 2 days from now. But everyone is chosen. However, you come to this point of recognition and recognizing the greater you that is in you than the you that is in the world. To quote John from one of John's letters. Again, I'll post it right here. Now, fear will manifest itself in many ways. And one of the greatest ways it'll manifest itself is through your social circle and through your parental circle. That is one way that it'll manifest. And I want to talk about a fear that I've noticed on this channel over the past 7-8 years. I shouldn't say channel, I mean YouTube itself, this YouTube entity, social media, that I've noticed people posting videos of. And that is a fear that deters you from continuing spiritually. Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Talk. This is Nick. Thanks for stopping by. In the beginning there, you saw I left email address for you guys. I would really like to bring some people on here, maybe through a Zoom call and whatnot, and we can discuss spirituality. You could talk about your spiritual experiences and share them with everyone else. I'd really like to grow this community and have us like-minded individuals, people who are evolving and growing, expanding spiritually, share their experiences for other people who may come into this and may need not just my own personal experiences, but have other people's experiences with spirituality. That being said, I also want to say that this channel is not monetized. I'll never monetize this channel, and I will never post articles on here or demand money or ask money of anyone or anything. This is a free gift. I would be doing a disservice to you guys if I started charging for what I'm saying here and what I'm sharing here and saying that I can help you and whatnot. Don't be fooled by those people that tell you that they can help you. There is no help for you. You are your only help and your only savior. Only you. No one can awaken you, and no one can walk the path that you need to walk. If anyone does, and you choose to follow that person, be aware you're giving away your power to that person. So I would never charge for anything. I would never monetize this channel. I was given this freely. I'm giving it freely to you guys through my experiences and whatnot. And I would really like to let it grow and become something that people can look forward to listening to and understanding different expressions and different experiences of spirituality. Now, the fear that I was talking about that will come from your social circles and your parental figures is a fear that happened to me. When I first came into my spiritual awakening, I wanted to share it with everyone. And I did. I tried my very best. For something like 3 years, I tried my very best to talk about it. But I just kept getting people coming into my face saying that I was a devil, I was a demon, I was this, I was that, I was anti everything that they believed was right according to some sort of church protocol or curriculum of some kind and whatnot. And that scared me. That scared me a lot. I really thought, because I was still trying to figure out what was happening to me spiritually. And I had friends tell me that I'm crazy. Employers, one day at a job at a restaurant where I was working, and I was working as a dishwasher slash line cook. Whenever there was no cooking that needed to be done, I was off washing dishes and whatnot. And I had shared some things there with some people, trying to share my experiences and tell them how I am growing spiritually. And then one day, they all ganged up on me, started laughing at me, throwing things that I said back into my face, telling me that I'm a witch, I'm a devil. And it got to the point where they cornered me, put me in a corner, right? And they all kind of hovered around me. And my employer at the time came out with this great big witch's hat, put it on me, and they all started laughing at me. That is a fear. That caused so much stress and anxiety, knowing that I thought by the things that I was saying and testifying my experiences that I would be able to reach other people. Because again, at that time, I was still trying to figure out spirituality, and I didn't know that they weren't hearing me. The words that I was speaking were English words, English sentences, properly structured and very well thought out, but they weren't hearing me. They were hearing another language, another dialect. They were hearing something else. They were hearing a reasoning and logical a voice in their heads telling them that I'm talking nonsense and foolishness. And I'm sure some of you guys out here, if you're just stopping by and visiting for a split second or two, you'll probably think the same thing. Oh, this is all nonsense. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy's leading someone down the road of like witchcraft and devils and possession and whatnot. That mentality is in the world and will always be in the world, and it's greatly populated, overly populated, to be honest with you. And that's why your spiritual awakening will be difficult, because it is a solitary road. It is an isolated road that very, very few people find, and many, many people try and oppose and get you off of it. And that is your social circle that will happen to you. Then there is your parental figures who do not understand, again, what you were talking about. But if they've been raised in some church-based mindset and mentality, they will tell you that everything is wrong. They will tell you that you speaking of an internal Jesus Christ, transforming you into Jesus Christ, awakening in you, is false. And they'll tell you that there has only ever been one Jesus Christ, and he is coming back to save us all. Although Paul tells you, do not believe that the resurrection is over. You know what I mean? People are leading people astray. Again, I'll post it up here. Because the resurrection takes place every day in not every single person, but every day someone is awakened spiritually. Someone is risen from the grave spiritually. And that someone is always ever one. And you can call that Jesus Christ, you can call it God, you can call it light, you can call it energy, consciousness, expansion of consciousness, which is exactly what takes place when the awakening happens. You start growing and evolving, and it feels like you're losing weight, but at the same time, you're filling up space all around you. You're expanding spiritually. You're taking on your natural nature, which is you are everything and nothing all at the same time. There is something that I've seen on YouTube over the past 7 years, trying to talk about this, and in the seeking phase that I was going through and looking for people who had similar experiences and whatnot. And, out of all the avenues that I went down, it was always Neville Goddard for me. I am a witness to what Neville Goddard is saying is true, because until Neville came into my life, I had all these biblical experiences, dreams and revelations and visions and parallels in my life that I didn't know. I hadn't heard anyone talk about them. And then I found Neville, and it was like Neville was my twin. Everything that he spoke about, I had experienced. I could relate to that. So I ended up finding someone like that to guide me. And for a period of time, he did. And I had dreams and talks with him, and very many biblical experiences that can be found in the Bible with him. But those are for other videos. Now, the thing that I noticed over 7 years concerning this, especially finding a mentor, finding a guide, someone that you resonate with, and that can lead you a little bit of the way before you embark on your own and becoming the guru and the master and the teacher. And that one thing that I've encountered is, and more than anything, I'd like to say that I really truly believe that it happens through a first spiritual awakening. Because in that first spiritual awakening, the reasoning mind, the logical mind is still very, very active, doesn't comprehend things, and is still trying to make sense of the change that is happening and going on in your life. But this thing that I am talking about is where people come into a spiritual awakening, go a certain way, face this grand fear and obstacle, and may encounter along the way some sort of phantasm or some sort of fantasy-filled fear that involves maybe ghosts or goblins or ghouls of some kind, and they stop in their tracks and they run away. And other people have the spiritual awakening and still seek out these avenues of astrology and witchcraft and whatnot to further understand their spirituality, and something scares them. And some people actually break through, or glide through, I should say, these walls that become obstacles to them. But more often than not, and especially in today's day and age with the internet and social media and whatnot, people go part way through their spiritual awakening, encounter some sort of fear-based superstition or nonsense, and turn away from it and know that they have a social circle that they can go to, talk about the foolishness of the superstitions associated to transforming and becoming a spiritual being, and make fun of it and tell a horror story of being scared to death so badly that it is all nonsense. And with the internet and having a large social circle, these people can go out there and broadcast to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that spirituality is a trap. It is new age garbage, and it is filled with devils and demons and magic and magical practices, and all of that is magical thinking, to be honest with you. It's just you giving away your power to something that really is powerless until you submit to it. And I've seen time after time new groups show up, new people, and more often than not, I don't want to, pigeonhole anyone, but it seems like it's women. And I've seen a few men, to be honest with you, too, come out and talk about how spirituality is all new age garbage and it's all a trap of the devil, and that the devil is a real thing and that hell exists, and I have seen hell and I have been there, and spirituality is all full of that. But more often than not, it's women. It's women that go out there and are able to somehow project themselves in a way to their social group and then get the word out. The spirituality is absolute nonsense. And you know what's funny? The funny thing is, because I'm just saying, I've seen women. I've seen a great majority of women do this on YouTube. And the funny thing is that if it weren't for women, I don't really believe that a man would completely understand spirituality. Because spirituality really does have to come from a woman. It's more like the feminine aspect of the male person, and without that feminine aspect, which comes from a woman, a mother, and whatnot, I doubt very much that, and I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. Anything could happen with God. With God, anything is possible. But I doubt very much that a man would stop and seek out and completely fully devote himself to walking that spiritual walk, because that man needs that feminine guidance, needs that feminine intuition, needs that transformation. In the book of Thomas, and the apostles at one point come up to Jesus and they say to him, get rid of Mary. We don't need Mary here. Why is Mary here? And Jesus said, she's an apostle too. I don't know if he used those exact words, but he said, don't worry, leave her here to me, because the woman must become a man That's all metaphors and symbolism. That's all also a parable and whatnot. But that's the transformation that takes place. The man has to embrace his feminine side, and a woman has to embrace their masculine side. And yet, I see so many women talking about being spiritual and having a spiritual awakening, and then all of a sudden realizing that it's filled with demons and devils and hells and Satan is real and whatnot. And that Satan that they claim is real is the fear that came upon them. It's that egoic part of the mind that sends a message to the body and scares the body in some sort of anxious anxiety, PTSD kind of way, to let it know that, hey, you can't change. You can't change. You can't become spiritual, because what would happen to me if you become spiritual? And that's the only devil in the world. Anything that prevents you from developing and expanding in consciousness and growing, evolving spiritually, that is the only devil in the world. And I can tell you right now, 100%, that devil is always you, because you faced spirituality, you awakened, you came to it. And for some strange reason, especially in the first, and more than often than not, it's always in the first spiritual awakening, you still used your logical mind and reasoning mind to figure it out and understand it and make sense of it. And you travel down certain roads like astrology, like tarot card reading, like fifth dimension travel and stuff like that. And these are all avenues that you give your power away to. There's one thing to find a guru or a spiritual guide that you resonate with, and they teach you and they guide you, and you give your power to them by listening and paying attention and comparing experiences. And then you know that that guide has to disappear. That guide has to leave. All belief systems have to disappear. And they disappear when you are strong enough to walk the walk on your own. When you are strong enough, when you've had so many experiences, good, bad, and indifferent, and have faced them all the challenges, and you're able to come out of it with understanding what they were. Nothing but a wall in your way that you were able to just quickly glide by with ease, you know? And I don't want to say it's with ease, because there's difficulties. There's the emotions that are attached and the feelings and the anxiety that comes with it. But you have to break through all of those things. You have to go beyond all those things. The minute you have some sort of fear dream or some sort of lucid fear dream and you stop and you run away and you start criticizing your spirituality, well, that in itself is the fact that you have given now your power over to a reasoning and rational mind, which did all this to convince you that you are not a spiritual being. And I can only tell you that there is nothing but spirituality in the world. These experiences that we're having and conditions that are posed upon us in the world are nothing more than thought-based creations. And you're not a thought-based creature. You are a life-giving spirit. You have the power within you to create the life you want. At the same time, it is not fair to very many people who have traveled in their first spiritual awakening down these roads to hear people, and especially people that influence thousands and thousands of people, saying that spirituality is the devil's domain. It is a gateway to hell. It is the road to hell. It is filled with fear and devils and that's it. And don't travel down that road. Go back to your churches. Get on your hands and knees. Cross yourselves. Genuflect. Do everything. Bow down to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is coming again. He's coming again. Maybe in the next video, I'll share with you my opinions and my thoughts about a Jesus Christ that is nondescript in your New Testament, that doesn't have long hair, doesn't have a beard. And there is nowhere in the Bible of a Jesus Christ with that description. And yet you are bowing down to a description, a picture, an artist's drawing. You're giving away your power to that. I just want to say, be careful in your first spiritual awakening, all right? Because the logical mind and the reasoning mind are still very active and still trying to, how can I put this? More than anything, they're listening. It's listening to you discover your spiritual self, and it's trying to figure out how it can work against you. And it'll send signals to your body and fill it with fear and anxiety and scare you with dreams and scare you with ideas, especially from your social circle and your parental figures, telling you that that is wrong, that you are not a spiritual being, that there's only ever one spiritual being, and that spiritual being is coming back and is going to save us and is going to whisk us off to Never Never Land. So be careful. And also, if you're having doubts, which you will during your first spiritual awakening, please be open-minded. Do not run to the channels that are telling you that I had a spiritual experience and I discovered that it's all New Age garbage. It's full of devils and demons and hell and Satan is real and whatnot. Do not try as hard as you can to prevent yourself from following those social media groups and those social people, and especially those who have clickbait titles like I had a spiritual experience and I discovered Satan and hell. You know, and those, stay away from those channels. Those channels are promoting a worldly, programmed and conditioned religion that they are trying to exclude you from being spiritual and understanding your spiritual nature, to thinking that you are spiritual only if you join and become part of that organization, or else you're going to be left out in the cold to face all the snow and ice and all the chills that come with it, and no one will be there to blanket you or comfort you or protect you or anything like that. You will fall away in your first spiritual awakening. No ands, ifs, or buts. You will return to the programming and the conditioning of the world. For, you know, in Revelation, it says that the Satan must be loosened for another 1,000 years before the second coming, which is your second spiritual awakening. So you will fall back. However, please try and carry some spiritual insight with you of your first spiritual awakening. And don't let the masses, especially in today's day and age, social media, try and scare you away with their testimonies and their stories, because they did not have the courage or the strength to see it through, and that the minute they encountered something that appeared like a devil or a demon, or they felt something off in a negative sense, ran away and went back to giving their power to some wooden object on a wall. You know what I mean? Don't fall for that. You are a spiritual being. You will fall away through your first spiritual awakening, but you will carry elements of spirituality with you that will strengthen you and prepare you for the second coming, which is your second spiritual awakening and final platform of you being in this world. See you guys next time.